We have been camping here for the past 1 hour, enjoying the sounds and sights that nature has to offer in this very blessed ecosystem that is the Maasai Mara National Reserve. And as we told you earlier, we have the pleasure of hosting very great guests for this session where we just want to talk about wildlife conservation and animal protection, and of course the collaborations that exist between the Kenyan government, the Narok County Government, and of course the local communities here. And with me right now is the Governor of Narok County Government. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Asante sana. So as we begin, just introduce yourself to us.
Thank you very much. My name's Patrick Ole Ntutu. I am the Governor of Narok. I'm born and raised here. Welcome to Maasai Mara.
Thank you so much. And we have had the pleasure to actually get to know him a bit more just off camera, and we're just going to bring that conversation now forth to you, our viewers, so that you just get to tap into the vast wealth of knowledge that he possesses in terms of wildlife conservation, in terms of animal protection, and just conservation in general. But before I begin, I just want to ask you something that has something to do with the Maasai culture. The attire that you have today, what does this represent?
Well, thank you very much. As you know, the Maasai culture is very rich, not just in Kenya, but also in the entire world. And therefore, what you see me wearing is what leaders, for example, a president or a governor should wear whenever he talks to other guests, and particularly when we have traditional ceremonies. We have so many of those, and today just happened to be that I had one in the morning, and of course we had arranged for me to meet with you, and I said, let me pass by and say hello.
Thank you so much. You are now serving as the current governor of Narok County Government, but you have been involved in conservation for a very long time.
Correct.
And of course, it doesn't come into the family starting with you. Even you're telling me your forefathers have been in this. Can you please just tell us a brief history of your involvement in conservation?
Now, thank you very much for that question. It is true, indeed, that my parents, my grandfather, and the Maasai community at large has been coexisting with wildlife since time immemorial. And therefore, my own grandfather was actually the first people who decided to sort of like demarcate the area of conservation and where people lives. But of course, when my father came in now, he took over, being now the paramount chief of the Maasais. He now took over to say, look, let's see what we can do to conserve this great environment, this resource, this ecosystem that consists of almost everything. And it was him who started what we call now in Kenya the first conservancies. Conservancies means that they are private owned land. For example, here in the Maasai Mara National Reserve, it's owned and run by the county government. It's about 1,510 square kilometers. But out there, it's even bigger than even the main Mara. We have about 22 conservancies that are around Maasai Mara. They set as, they act as a buffer zone for us, between us and the community. And of course, you remember that Maasai Mara is also, border Tanzania. So Serengeti and Maasai Mara is one at the same. It's just that after the colonization of Africa, that is when they demarcated land. But of course, you and I know that wildlife don't know the boundaries. Boundaries, they go, like the wild beasts you have seen today, they've just come from Tanzania, and they will be here for the next 3 months, and then they'll go back. Again, they look for pasture. So for me, I grew up here, I'm bred here, and I think I know everything about Maasai Mara, and we have always preserved this ecosystem, which is very fragile, to make sure that a generation see what we have seen.
Thank you so much for that. But now you have been in office for about 2 years now.
Correct.
And you have done quite some work here on the Maasai Mara National Reserve.
Correct.
But I just wanted to mention, what are some of the policies and development projects that you have put in place to ensure this ecosystem is maintained in the best shape possible?
Now, before I became the governor of Narok County, I was the immediate member of parliament for this area. So when the great people of Narok asked me to run for governor, I decided to come up with a management plan This management plan is a tool that we are now using to manage wildlife. Managing wildlife and the people around the conservancy has never been easy. So this document was extensively discussed and talked about by stakeholders, by scientists, and at that time it was very hard to come up with a document like that because, of course, there are so many things that people say this one is not good, this one is not good. But I was clear in my mind that we needed to come up with a management tool to manage this conservation area. In this conservation area, it's everything for us. For us as Maasai, Maasai people, we live around this park since time immemorial, and therefore we came up with how are we going to manage the number of camps that are going to be built in Maasai Mara. We also come up with how are we going to make sure that we control the number of tourists that comes here, because it can be hectic, particularly during the high season. We also dealt with the issue of road and infrastructure. I'm very sure today you have passed very nice roads that are maram. Of course, here we don't want anything to do with tarmac road. This is all maram road. Again, because of the advice that we got from our scientists, that we need to have these maram roads, because again, remember, we are managing wildlife. We are managing wildlife that have to exist to continue to exist with us.
Yes, and Narok County Government is the host county for the Maasai Mara National Reserve. But managing this natural resource requires lots of collaborations, I would imagine. What are some of the collaborations that you've put in place with other stakeholders to ensure this runs smoothly?
Absolutely. This park, when you look at 1,510 square kilometers, it's huge. And we have so many stakeholders. For example, the national government, the KWS, Kenya Wildlife Service. We also have the Ministry of Tourism. We also have the tour operators, the owners of the camps. And also, more importantly, is the community that has given out this land. They are the number one stakeholders because, again, remember, the Maasais and wildlife are together. The only tribe in Kenya that can coexist with wildlife. And I can tell you that without the Maasai community, remember, the Maasai community don't eat, wild animals meat. Remember that, and I know you must have read that. And other tribes around the park do come here to try and probably even, have, hunting for wildlife. And this is something that the Maasai community don't do that. And therefore, our stakeholders are so many, and all of them have to work together. That's why when we came up with the management plan, which actually went through the county assembly, it went through to the national government, where it was gazetted by the Ministry of Tourism. It's a document that has been accepted by everybody. So we have so many stakeholders.
Thank you so much.
And even the tourists are also our stakeholders. We hear them, we listen to them. What are they saying? Is there anything that we can do better? You probably have seen what we call lookout. We have now constructed very beautiful restrooms, so that when our guests come the whole day, they have a place that they can rest, they can have a soda, they can have a cold drink before they go back to their camps.
So you have the local community here.
Yes.
And this is a natural reserve that has been tapped to benefit not just this part of the country, but the whole country.
Correct.
But how then do you ensure that these local people that are here, who are the main custodians of this wildlife, also get to benefit from this natural reserve?
Very good question. That's the main essence of having this great resource. One of the things that the park fee does is that we have what we call 19%. 19% is the total amount of money that need to go to the community. Before the county government comes in, we used to have the 19%. 19% is the total amount of money that is collected, the park fee that the tourism pay. Employment is a big thing. From the management plan, the rule is that 80% must come from the local. The people you see driving this vehicle, the people you see even being tour guides, these are the people who know the area very well, and that is why they are the ones who are actually driving this vehicle to show the guests where the animals are, and they also tell them the history about the Maasai Mara. And then also, more importantly, is the bursaries. Most of the communities, for a long time, the Maasai communities have not gone to school. But through these initiatives that we have come up with, we now set aside a certain amount of money for the local people, those young people who are going to universities, those people who are going to high school. We give them bursaries. Number two, also, we also use the money to construct health centers. Remember, again, this area is infected by a lot of fly, malaria. It's a big thing because of the water that you see here, and because, of course, the wildlife live around them. So we needed to come up with health centers that can help our people. It is the county government that is building those health centers, and also schools. We have started a number of secondary schools here, a number of ECDs, again, to help the community to also catch up with other communities in Kenya. And I must say that also the lodges you see here, most of them are beneficiaries of whatever that is accrued in those lodges. There is a certain percentage that go directly to the community, not even the county government, but directly to the community. And these community leaders are the one who shares among the family members. Let me tell you, during high season, you can see people now with cash. Having money is power, and I can tell you that the work that they are doing here, under them are living. Without this tourism, you will not see the towns you see around the park. Of course, they are not inside the park; they are outside the park, and therefore the ripple effect is huge on the communities. And that is why you also see we have a number of students who have gone out of the country to go study, and they're coming back to manage their lodges. They are coming to manage their businesses and stuff like that. So it's huge. People are really feeling it. Without this resource, I would not imagine what the Maasai community will do without this resource. That's why they hold it very passionately about it. You can see that they love this park, and they will not do anything with it without this park.
Yes, and with that understanding,
yes.
Now let me ask you about human-wildlife interactions here.
Yes.
How do you ensure, as the authorities of Narok County Government, that there is sustainable coexistence between the humans that live just outside the park and the animals that reside within the park?
Thank you. I must say that it's one of the big challenges we have, because again, while we have wildlife-human conflicts, it's huge here, and the reason being is that our park is not fenced. So the borders are porous. The animals don't know this is where the people live and where the animals are supposed to stay. So we have had that as a big problem that we're having here among the people who live around the Mara. And what we have done is that a number of programs initiated by the county government of sensitizing the communities. We lose between 10 to 15 people per year to wildlife and human conflict. More than 200 livestock sometimes disappeared here in the Mara. And I must tell you that we are lucky as Maasai people, because we have coexisted with this animal since time immemorial. I grew up in this area. I've always seen this park. I've seen lions. I've seen wild, and we know how to coexist together. You will not imagine a young child who is going to school just walking up and down and go to school and come back, and they know that this is an elephant, and they know how to not go near it, but to go away from it and go back to their own business. But I must say that it is one of the big challenges. But again, as I told you, that the conservancies that we have around Mara act as buffer zone between us and the community, and they have really helped us. This is another initiative that we have started to making sure that again the community understand where the livestock can reach and where they can graze, so that they don't get into the park. That is a big issue that we are dealing, but through sensitization, through training of our game rangers, through training of community leaders, has really helped to make sure that this wildlife coexists with us.
And as I just stick to that, this is one of Kenya's biggest attractions out there.
Yes.
And a lot of people make their way here, especially during the high season of the Great Migration, which is between July and October.
Yes.
You get so many visitors.
Yes.
How do you manage to just, manage the park during this high season?
As a matter of fact, as you're saying, in fact, today we will have Miss Universe. She will be here this evening. You'll probably get a chance to interview her also. But I'll tell you what, because again, this Mara is well run. Like I told you, we develop a management tool where we know the number of guests we have. We have come up with a capacity that we can hold. And if we see the tourists are becoming many, then some we send to the conservancies, and some we organize in such a way that all the lodges, all the camps, all the managers, we all work together and we communicate on how do we do our game drives. The rangers, the game rangers who have been well trained, are also interact with the guests and also interact with the managers, so that they all know what is supposed to be done in the morning. Some people will take balloons in the morning, and some people will take the morning game drives, and others in the evening. So we know how to do it. But I must say that for the last 2 years, we have had a very big traffic here in the Mara, and we continue to say that we will try to do our level best to continue again to add more land by leasing more land from the private owned land, and that has helped us a lot, particularly the conservancies. It is actually taking some of our traffic away from the park. Yes.
Thank you so much. And this is a very rich ecosystem here, from the wildlife to the vegetation.
Yes.
And it is very important to ensure that each of these wildlife and vegetation are protected and conserved, just to ensure this ecosystem is not left unbalanced. Because the way nature works, if we leave anything unbalanced, then it affects the whole ecosystem. What are some of the partners that you have worked or collaborated with just to ensure that this ecosystem is preserved as it is?
Let me be honest with you. People love Mara, even those who are visiting. And the people who are managing this park is really Narok County Government. And what we have done over the years, we have learned to work with other stakeholders. Like I was telling you, this document that we came up with, called Maasai Mara Management Plan, is a tool that will tell you today, you should be here this time. You should be somewhere this time. You should be during this time of the year. You are supposed to do ABCD. So some of the tools that we have used is we have leveraged on technology. The Earth Ranger, we have a system that we have actually planted here in the park. You will know that probably where you are, I can watch you right when I'm sitting in my office. And this technology has really helped us to really monitor what is happening in the Mara. And there are very strict regulations also, rules that if you break, then the game rangers will take care of you. We normally don't really take people to court or whatever, but there is a way that we manage this park, and people understand. We have also come up with pamphlets where we give people to, before you come to the park, when you are in the hotel, you are taken through a rigorous regulation guide, where you know what you're supposed to do. And therefore, I tell you, we have invested a lot in training of our game rangers. Our game rangers and the people who work for wildlife are well taken care of. I tell you, today, we have more than probably 300 game rangers in this park, just to make sure that rules and regulations are followed to the letter. Because for us, this is our heritage. For us, this is our life. For us, this is everything that I've ever known. Without the Maasai Mara, I don't know whether I will ever be a governor of Narok County. Actually, my school fees was paid through the park fee. So we hold it very dear.
Thank you so much. And we live in a world that is constantly progressing, and technology keeps on evolving day by day. And you have mentioned one of the technological aspects of managing the Maasai Mara National Reserve. What are some of the ways that you incorporate technology and science just to ensure even better preservation of this ecosystem?
Well, actually, we maximize actually the technology that much, but there is a way that we are using. For example, the endangered species in Mara. We have tools that we monitor. I call, for example, Kifaru. Kifaru is, we follow all the rhinos wherever they go. We also have like, the normal, our smart technology. I tell you what, this ecosystem is well looked at or, taken care of by not just even the county government, but also the national government. when you see the CS, and I'm very sure you will be able to interact with her, they are part and parcel of this whole ecosystem. And we have scientists, researchers, who are doing constantly research on animals, on a number of animals. Why are these animals going down in terms of the numbers, or why are some are going high? And again, it is the work of the managers like myself and the scientists to know the reason. If there is any reason, we also come in and make sure that we rectify. I'll tell you what, sometimes rhinos or elephants give birth to the young ones and they leave it. You know, so it's up to us to take it to the rescue centers and take care until when we are comfortable that they can go to the wild. Then we release it to the wild. So we have a rescue center where we look at these animals when they are young, and they're doing very well. Also, for example, we have veterinary officers. Veterinary officers are very important, and I can tell you we have saved so many animals. Even the hippopotamus you see here, sometimes they get sick because of certain outbreak of diseases. It is the responsibility of the county government to make sure that we take care of our wildlife, because this is what we have as part of our heritage.
A very, very rich pool of knowledge you have there, Governor.
Thank you.
I want to thank you so much for being with us. That has been Patrick Ole Ntutu, who is the Governor of Narok County Government. We have, of course, been having a conversation here on wildlife conservation and animal protection, and he has delved a bit into that, what the county government is doing, and the collaborations that exist here just to ensure that the animals that are found within this ecosystem, that is the Maasai Mara National Reserve, are preserved and are available to future generations. As we were saying, we were still on the banks of the Mara River, and here you can find a lot of the animals. The hippopotamus are right behind us here. Though the grunts that you have been hearing, those are the hippopotamus. The crocodiles are here. The Egyptian geese are here. Right a few meters from here, as we were mentioning in the morning, we managed to see a full-grown male lion. So it's a very rich heritage that Narok County Government has here, and of course the protection and conservation that he has enlisted there comes in very handy to ensure that this national reserve remains available for future generations. For now, Governor, I just want to thank you so much for having the time to join us here.
Welcome,
thank you so
welcome,
much.
Welcome.
Thank you
again.
so much,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you very much.